Deputy Speaker, I want to take the opportunity in this House today to put on the record for members and the general public two important battles going on in my electorate that I've been able to provide some support to, along with my Labor colleagues, the member for Whitlam, as well as our state colleagues, Ryan Park, the member for Keira, Paul Scully, the member for Wollongong, and Anna Watson, the member for Shellharbour. We have playing out locally two disputes that encapsulate exactly the challenges that ordinary workers and their families are facing across the country. And I'm very pleased to be joined by some constituents in the chamber today and to be able to talk about the fight that they've got on their hands. I want to first of all go to the decision by BHP and BlueScope to abandon Australian cruise and shipping on the run around the Australian coast from Western Australia to the port in my own area, the port of Kembla. We've had a long history, over 100 years, of ships carrying iron on the Australian coastline to provide for our steel industry. And we all know very well from our history the importance of our maritime fleet at times of great struggle, indeed world wars, in this country. This country needs, in its own best interest, an Australian fleet on our domestic runs. I have met with workers from two ships, the Lowlands Brilliance and the Maralula, who were in international waters, told that their run had been cancelled, their employment had been cut, and that they would be being sent home. Some of them with years and years of experience as seafarers, others new to the job. Told out in the middle of the ocean, their job's gone. This is a disgrace on so many levels, Deputy Speaker, a disgrace for those individuals and their families to have their work pulled out from under them in that sort of manner, where they don't have access to their union reps, to people to support them to deal with that sort of outcome. It's also a real disgrace for us as a nation that a significant employer, indeed whose initials say are about the big Australian, abandons Australian shipping and Australian workers. And indeed we know all too well, Mr Speaker, from the report, The Ships of Shame, that was a bipartisan report of this parliament about the abuse of foreign seafarers and what that now will open up to. So I want to acknowledge the Maritime Union officials, Gary Keane, Mick Cross and Michelle Myers, for the work that they've done on this campaign, and the sacked workers in particular here with us today, Daniel Bell, who was on the Lowlands Brilliance, who comes from Nowra, and Ben Sarash and partner Erin, who Ben was on the Maralula, who's from the Gold Coast, but also their colleagues Joe Librand, Will Zissis and Daniel Hicks, and call on the government to have a close look at the actions it could have taken in not providing licences for foreign-flagged, foreign cruise ships to be doing domestic runs. I think it's something in the long run, as a nation, we need to get on top of, and certainly our Shadow Minister, Anthony Albanese, has made it clear that Labor believes we need to have a domestic fleet. I also want to talk about the Port Kembla coal terminal, and I have met with the United Mine Workers Union representatives, Bob Timms and Lee Webb, and the workers on the picket line out the front of the coal terminal, and here today David Brown, Jeff Logan, Kevin Cope and Chris Malevsky, and also some workers who are still back either locked out or on strike in my local area, who yesterday, while some of their colleagues were here in Canberra, were actually out repairing playground equipment in Dapto, using their time that they were on strike to help a local community. Ben Burns, Owen Steep, Cameron Green and Peter Hawke. These workers just want a guarantee of security kept in their enterprise agreement, that they can't be sacked and replaced by contractors. PKCT claims that's their intention. We'll get back to the table and put that back into that agreement.